passion meets horsepower, and every engine has a story. Today, we're diving into a collection of tales that sound almost too wild to be true. 7 supercars worth over $50 million, abandoned, forgotten, and later rediscovered in the most unbelievable ways. We're talking about Ferraris buried in sand, Lamborghinis covered in hay, Bugattis sealed away during a war, and even a McLaren left collecting parking tickets. Each one has its own incredible backstory, a blend of mystery, loss, and rediscovery that reminds us why car culture is about so much more than just machines. So buckle up and let's take a ride through 7 unbelievable supercars that were lost to time and found again. Our first story begins in Dubai, the city of gold, excess, and unbelievable wealth. Here, supercars are as common as coffee shops. But what most people don't realize is that Dubai is also home to a strange phenomenon: hundreds of abandoned luxury cars, left behind by their owners. Among the forgotten fleet sat one of the rarest Ferraris ever made, a Ferrari Enzo, worth around $3.5 million. The Enzo was Ferrari's ultimate tribute to its founder, a Formula One-inspired machine that could launch from 0 to 60 in just over 3 seconds and reach a staggering 218 miles per hour. Built from carbon fiber, powered by a howling 6-liter V12, this wasn't just a car, it was an event on wheels. So how does a car like this end up abandoned? In Dubai, strict debt laws mean if you can't pay, you can't stay. Under Sharia law, unpaid loans can lead to imprisonment. So when financial crises hit, many wealthy owners literally fled the country overnight, leaving their prized possessions behind at airports, parking lots, and impound yards. This Enzo sat untouched for years, baking in 120-degree heat, coated in desert dust, its tires deflated, its once sleek paint now dull and cracked. It's a haunting image, a $3.5 million dream left to melt under the desert sun. It's poetic in a way, the car built to represent Ferrari's peak, sitting still, forgotten as the world moved on. From the Middle East to East Asia, we moved to China, where a Pagani Zonda worth nearly $5 million was discovered abandoned inside a warehouse. Not because it broke down, but because it became too dangerous to own. Pagani Zonda, a name whispered among hypercar enthusiasts like a sacred spell. Each one is hand-built by artisans in Modena, Italy. The body, carbon titanium. The heart, a 7.3-liter Mercedes-AMG 512. The sound, pure opera at 7,000 revolutions per minute. But in China, owning one wasn't so simple. The country's luxury import taxes can double the car's price, and some collectors tried to bypass those rules. This Zonda's owner had it smuggled in through unofficial channels, paying millions under the table. When the government launched an anti-corruption sweep, cracking down on illegally imported luxury vehicles, panic spread fast. The owner vanished, and the Zonda locked away in a warehouse, untouched for years. When authorities eventually raided the building, they found it sitting under a soft cover, perfectly preserved, tires inflated, battery still charged. Now it sits as evidence in a legal case, trapped between ownership and oblivion, too rare to destroy, too illegal to drive. Now let's head to the rolling hills of Europe, and the birthplace of a legend, the Lamborghini Miura S. This wasn't just a supercar, it was the car that defined what a supercar could be. The first mid-engine V12 ever put in a production car, sleek, seductive, and fast, a masterpiece of 1960s engineering that made Ferrari rethink everything. One particular Miura was found sitting in a forgotten barn, buried under 40 years of dust and hay. It had been purchased in the late 60s by a successful businessman who adored it, until a minor front-end accident sidelined it for repairs. He pushed it into his barn, intending to fix it the next week. That week turned into 4 decades. When collectors stumbled upon it during an estate sale, they couldn't believe what they saw. Original paint, cracked but still clinging. Leather seats dried from time, but intact. The legendary V12 engine, seized but complete. After a 2-year restoration, the Miura returned to glory, roaring like it was 1969 again. Today, a Miura S in perfect condition is worth more than $4 million. Not bad for a car once mistaken for scrap metal. Now let's talk about a discovery that sounds like a fairy tale. A hidden Bugatti collection, untouched for nearly 70 years. Among the treasures was a Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic, a car many consider the Mona Lisa of automotive design. Only 4 were ever made, each crafted by hand in the 1930s. Its body, riveted down the spine, was inspired by aircraft. Design, a shape so perfect it looks sculpted by the wind itself. The collection belonged to a wealthy French industrialist, a passionate Bugatti collector who feared for his cars as World War II approached. To protect them from Nazi confiscation, he sealed them away in a secret garage and fled north. He didn't survive the war, and his secret died with him. Decades later, his descendants found a note in his letters referring to a safe place. After months of searching, they opened the forgotten garage. Inside, they found history itself. several Bugattis resting under sheets, dust glimmering like snow. The Type 57S Sea Atlantic alone is valued at tens of millions. The entire collection, possibly over $40 million. It's one of those discoveries that feels almost sacred, like uncovering the holy grail of cars. Now imagine this. A car worth $20 million sitting forgotten in a city parking garage. No security guards, no alarms, just dust, decay, and a few unpaid tickets fluttering under the wipers. That car was a McLaren F1. When it launched in 1992, it shattered every record in sight. 627 horsepower, a gold-lined engine bay to reflect heat, and a top speed of 240 miles per hour. It was the car that made even Ferrari nervous, but this one became a casualty of paperwork. The owner, a wealthy businessman, got tangled in a massive corporate lawsuit. His assets were frozen, including the McLaren, registered under a holding company, so it sat, undriven, unwashed, unloved. For 7 long years, it gathered dust in a London parking lot while the courts dragged on. When it was finally recovered, McLaren's special operations team restored it. The car started up almost instantly, a mechanical miracle. It's proof that true engineering excellence never dies. Next up, the Ferrari 250 GTO, arguably the most valuable car on Earth. Only 36 ever made, every one of them a legend. One of these belonged to a Middle Eastern sheikh in the 1960s. For a few glorious years, he drove it across the desert highways, showing off Italy's finest export under the sun. But as his car collection grew, newer models took center stage, and the 250 GTO got pushed further back and eventually forgotten. When the sheikh passed away, his heirs were cataloging his collection when they pulled back a dusty tarp, and there it was, a 250 GTO, perfectly preserved, minimal corrosion, interior intact, engine ready to breathe again. After light restoration, it ran like new. One similar model sold for $70 million, making this one of the most valuable rediscoveries in automotive history. It's not just a car, it's a relic of racing's golden age, found in a sea of forgotten luxury. Finally, we arrive at our number 1 story, one that captivated the entire automotive world, the Bayonne collection. In 2014, a French auction team stumbled upon a forgotten estate in western France. What they found inside left them speechless. Over 60 classic cars, untouched for half a century. Roger Bayonne, a wealthy transport magnate, had dreamed of building a museum dedicated to automotive history. He collected Bugattis, Ferraris, Talbots, Maseratis, a lifetime of passion. But after his business collapsed in the 1970s, he stored them away, hoping one day to recover. That day never came. When the collection was uncovered, nature had reclaimed it. Vines creeping through doors, sunlight cutting through dust, rust kissing metal. Yet many cars were still restorable. Among them was a Ferrari 250 GT California Spider, which sold for nearly $30 million. The Bayonne collection wasn't just a barn find, it was a time machine. A window into a man's dream that the world had forgotten and then rediscovered. It reminded us that behind every car is a story, and sometimes the story outlives the driver. Every one of these discoveries tells a different story, not just of luxury, but of legacy. They show us that even the most powerful machines can fade, yet never truly disappear. Because what we build, what we drive, and what we love, it all leaves a mark. Here at Horsepower Habits, that's what drives us. Not just speed or style, but the stories behind every car that ever turned heads or changed hearts. If you enjoyed this journey through forgotten automotive treasures, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we've got more stories like this coming your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep your engines running, your passions alive, and your horsepower habits strong.